Yo, what's up, people? This is the next Forex Pro, and just wanted to make an update video on pretty much the extension that I got. And so I went ahead and took a screenshot from the email, and you can see this is from MyForexFunds here. I was talking to this particular agent, and I went ahead and asked them because my account was at pretty much 5.4%, right? You can see my equity curve here. And so obviously you can see that if you're above the 6%, there should be a button that will automatically show up in your own account dashboard. But if you're below that, I don't really know what's the least amount that you can reach out to support and ask them to give you an extension. To my understanding, they analyze your account. If you have not met the 6%, you can reach out to MyForexFunds support and ask them if you can get an extension to be able to finish off the evaluation phase 1 and be able to continue. So this was on November 25 when I reached out to them because my account was already at 0 days exactly to and so anyways, right now I'm standing at 25 days here. That's like pretty cool, little thing lights up. So I'm at 25 days here, and obviously that was 3 days ago. So they mentioned you have been given an extension for 28 more days, and so I thought that was awesome. So there you go. Fast forward 3 days later, I'm at 25 days left. Today is Monday, 11/28/2022, and I'm pretty happy. Usually Mondays, so Mondays I do trade Mondays if it's like a really good setup. But for the most part, if Mondays for me, what I like to do is I like to analyze the market on Sundays, on the bigger time frames. Daily and weeklies, and if I'm really unsure of where the market's gonna go, then I like to have Mondays kind of like a day where I'll go into a demo account and be able to trade that. Right, I don't touch anything with with my challenge account or my live account, and the reason why is because for Sundays, I don't know about you guys, if you guys are just a robot and you guys can just handle it, or depending how you feel, and that's really what I go by. It just really depends on how I feel for the day. If I feel good, if I feel that I have a good understanding where the market's going. But if you're following ICT, he mentions why trade on Mondays when there are no big news or when things are just starting to get back into the hang of it, especially because last week we had Thursday and Friday off due to Thanksgiving holidays in U.S. and here in the States. And so because of that, there's kind of a reset point where, in that point, I'm coming from a 4-day weekend, so to speak, and coming back into Monday and got to get the ball rolling. And so it just depends on you. This is just what I do. I'm just letting you guys know, right? Whatever. Whatever you do, there's no right or wrong. Obviously, I'm just letting you, like I said, I'm just letting you guys know what I do. So I like to, depending on how I feel, I like to give or take, analyze the market on Sundays, right? Sunday night, I look at my daily, plot my daily points, my daily range, and my weekly range for the next week. Obviously, if it's a weekly, and then if it's a daily, for how that closed for Friday, right? And so you can see here we went above today, above 2 previous day, Friday and Thursday, right there. And you can see that here today during a London session on the 60-minute, there was this gap right here where the market just ran up straight up all the way in London session, and that created a liquidity void. And if you've been watching ICT, you can see that liquidity voids are areas where the market will want to get back to, especially if whether you're against the trade or with trend bias, depending, whichever one you look at, there will be times where the market will want to come back to that. And so that's kind of what I was looking at on this morning. If we go back down to the 15-minute, actually you can't really see it very well. Let's go to the 5-minute. Now there actually was news that came out around 6 a.m. so that's like 9 a.m. Eastern time, and there was an opportunity here to actually get in short. And so my target was to get the middle of this liquidity void right there, where this whole liquidity was created. And so pretty much the market looked like this, right? This was around 5 a.m. I think. Yeah, okay, this is 7 a.m. Oops. Yeah, so this was 5 a.m. here my time. That's 8 a.m. Eastern time, and then 9 a.m. Eastern time, and then 10 a.m. Eastern time. So when the market took off, and then around 11 a.m. Eastern time, that finally hit the middle of that. And then you can see, to me, looking forward for this week, it looks like tomorrow is going to be a down day too. So I'll be looking to sell euro dollar. Obviously that's not I know I said what I said, but that is not for you guys to take into, make sure you guys take into account your own analysis. I'm not really trying to give you guys, what ICT says, just trying to give you guys a fish. Like I said, these videos I'm doing are really just for the progress I'm making and just my journey in this. But I mean, I love talking about trading too, just as ICT does. And so I'm just kind of going over this. So anyways, you can see that I took a trade here. I sold at 104.38, and then I took profits at 104.30. And here's the reason why. Now I figured the market was going to run to this liquidity void, this middle of this whole, pretty much this whole candle here. And so here was, let me actually just add the marker. So there's where I took a sell. You can see I was even late to the party here, right? Once again, this is where you actually have to ask yourself, right? Do you want to trade after a weekend or after a 4-day weekend, or where you're not doing anything, you're not active in the markets, you're just kind of reflecting? And on Mondays, like I said, it's just kind of I like to go in demo because it's just a way for me to just come back. There's not that pressure where I have to know where the market's going. It's just, even though there was the orange news, which actually I just remembered that there was an orange news. The speaker was going to come out here at that 9 a.m. Eastern time. Even though that was going to happen, given that it was a 4-day weekend, and I'm kind of not in the mood to add that pressure. I just want to be in here and come in and be like, all right, what's happening? Where's bias? Is my bias still standing as last week, where I was my bias for last week was actually wanting to buy euro dollar. And so, and as you can see this week, it was a selling opportunity based on what happened on Sunday, based on what happened this morning during the London session. And you can see how those things change, right? You have to adapt. And, I think it's very hard when you're coming in, especially if you're brand new in trading. It's super hard to try and adapt to that because your mind stays glued to a certain direction. And then because you're glued to that certain direction, you get that analysis paralysis, because then you start going, oh, but what about this? And look at this, and look at that. And I'm sure by now you guys are if you've listened to me up to this point, you know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, so although I didn't take this trade, I did recognize it right away, and so there was also this fair value gap here, right in there, and that's actually when I sold. This market rallied, and it rallied pretty hard. I ended up putting my stop right above this because I figured if it can, and if it will, there's times where it will get above this to fill in that gap, that area here. And so I didn't want to get stopped out, to have a premature stop right here. So I went ahead and put the stop above here. And then you can see if I would have entered in here, target would have been in this area here. And that's kind of where I went ahead and just closed the trade in my demo. And you can see the market continued going further. One thing I could have done was just left some in the trade to let this run and let it hit equilibrium here at that 50% level from that liquidity void candle. And you can see bias is looking to the downside, and so this is looking good to continue to have selling pressure and be able to take this to the downside. And anyways, so that was my decision for taking this trade on the demo. Like I said, this is demo. And I already gave you guys my explanation as to why I'd rather just, for Mondays, usually I chill, I sit back. Unless, like I said, I know that for a fact we're coming in from a Friday to a Monday, and then Monday there's some good news out. And I already have an idea where the market's going, just because how it closed Friday, or right, just you kind of learn, as how ICT mentions, like you learn how to pick up on the experience and like where the market is likely to go next, right? And so if there's a day where you're just not sure where the market's going, I mean, to be honest, just go on demo, or if you really are, I really don't think you should do live, because then if you lose or something, if you're just not trained right, you could just enter in a minimum, very small position, and if you're right, then okay, you kind of just massaged your ego, so to speak. Otherwise, like I said, if the money's gonna get made, right? It's not going anywhere. The points, whatever you want to call it, it's gonna get made, and there's no reason to try and hurry the process. This is just for you to get your feet wet into the week, and you had a good, and for me, this trade just shows me I had a good understanding of where the market was going, and it doesn't matter whether or not I made the money, right? To me, it's just a good understanding that I had a good idea of where the market was heading towards, and for me, that is the reward, because at the end of the day, what ICT wants to train us to is to train us to have that precision, to know or to pretty much stick with, number one, stick to with bias, right? If you formulated a bias before your session starts, that's number one. Then number two, to be able to see where is market trying to get to, right? And so you can see that although from here to here was what, 10 points or something, yeah, so 10 pips. What does 10 pips mean to you? 10 pips can be $10 or $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, right? Like the money part doesn't matter. What matters is that's gonna come, obviously, right? Once you get this, but once you know, right? Once you feel like that you have a good understanding of where the market's going and how price is delivering. I think that's one of the things we have to really reflect on before we can really go live and start doing shit like what I'm doing, whatever. Not to try to toot my own horn or anything. I'm just saying that it's important, because even I've made those mistakes, and as you can see, this challenge, I felt it's taken me a bit longer than what expected. But just don't do as I do as I say, and even right. So I hope that makes sense. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, this was just an update to show you guys I was able to get the extension approved. So that was pretty cool, right? And then obviously you can see the trader I took this morning in this demo account for this. I use NinjaTrader. And anyway, so like I said, I have a good understanding of where the market will want to go and move tomorrow and for the remainder of the week. Things can change. They can change, right? So you never really know. So just keep that in mind. That make sure you do your own analysis and you figure out where bias is heading towards next. And that's it. So anyways, if you guys enjoy this, thank you so much for watching. And if you like the video, you can comment, like, or just subscribe and follow my journey. All right, people. Peace out.